everybody, I'm KC and welcome to an edition of Let's Talk About. Today, let's talk about the Ducktales episode, Who is Gizmoduck? Alright, back to Ducktales, talking about a Season 1 episode while Season 2 has been going on for a few weeks now. Yeah, I wanted to cover this and a couple other episodes sooner, but certain bigger projects kinda demanded my attention. And while I hope to cover a couple of the bigger episodes of Season 1, I might go out of order depending on how much I want to talk about certain Season 2 episodes, because there has been some crazy stuff going on. But for now, let's get to this episode I've been wanting to talk about for quite a while. In our first proper Gizmoduck episode, Fenton realizes that the Gizmo suit could be used for a much greater purpose after accidentally thwarting a bank robbery. But his mission to help all of Duckburg might not go as smoothly as he thought. You know, I always appreciate when a show can dedicate time like this to side characters and make it just as entertaining as any other episode. There are shows out there with exceptional ensemble casts, but personally, a lot of shows I love tend to have a small, close group of characters that's rarely broken away from. And really think about it. Viewers wait for a new episode each week, and with some shows even longer, and that wait is paid off with a character who had only been in one episode before this getting the spotlight. Huey has a supporting role and the rest of the main group are relegated to cameos. Conceptually, that could be a turnoff. So when it's pulled off with as much success as any other episode, I feel it's noteworthy. Especially in this case, since this is the first time DuckTales 2017 has done something like this. Even though we had seen Fenton as Gizmoduck before this, I consider this his true origin story, as it were. And beware of the buddy system, he just put the suit on to help the others get out of a jam. And while that was awesome, now we get to see how Fenton will evolve into Duckburg's hometown hero. We see a lot more of Fenton's character that we got a taste of in Beware of the Buddy System. That he's ambitious and driven to a fault and thinks and moves a mile a minute, usually before he can fully think his actions through. But he always means well and is fully passionate once he sets his mind on something. But again, the whole thinking a mile a minute thing means that drive gets him into unfortunate situations. But this is a character type I absolutely love, and it's slowly making Fenton my favorite character on this show, which makes yet another one of my favorite characters an eccentric scientist. This keeps happening and I don't know why. We also get to see Fenton's home life and that he still lives with his mother, which is so pathetic. I mean, what kind of grown adult still has to live with their parents? But yeah, I didn't know this was a thing in the original series, but I really like Fenton's mama here. She's pushy but believes in her son, loves Spanish soaps, and is a kick-ass police officer. When the commotion goes down in the climax, we see her directing the crowd to safety and protecting Huey. I love moments like that, and appreciate that a police officer in what is essentially a superhero story is not completely incompetent. It's rarer than you might think. I hope she becomes a kind of Commissioner Gordon to her son as Gizmoduck, but that's probably not going to stop comments like this.
See if you can get money out of it. He's loaded.
If I had a nickel for every time one of my parents says something like that, I'd have enough to get them to stop doing it. Fenton's also eager to please others, as we see through his interactions with many of the other characters, as he starts to wonder if Gizmoduck could be a hero. And of course, Gyro is as condescending as ever, not even willing to hear Fenton out, eventually leading Fenton to make a hasty decision to say the least, but we'll get to that in a second. Huey was at the bank when Fenton activated the Gizmo suit there and immediately admired him as a hero. Started following him around and asking tons of questions about how he functions. It's less stalkery than it sounds. He props up Fenton with the idea of someone thinking he could be a hero, and calls him out when he starts to stray from that.
What do you need?
I need you to toss that in the trash.
My faith in you.
Wow, that is cold, but it really works. I also love how Huey doesn't take any of the adults' crap in this episode.
I mean, how could you be him? You were rescued by Gizmoduck. And did you really think we would have noticed that your whole faces are different?
Huey would be excellent at CinemaSins. But the most important thing about these inclusions is that with these two in the same episode, it means our two former Community cast members are finally in scenes together.
But the fact is...
Your ass is on the line.
My ass is on the line.
You just got off the phone with the mayor.
I just got off the phone with the mayor. Stop doing that!
But after being put down by Gyro so much for experimenting with the limits of the Gizmo suit, Fenton gets an offer to be the hero he supposedly wants to be by Mark Beeks. I haven't really talked about Mark Beeks properly in a review yet. He's the worst. Moving on. Okay, in all seriousness, this may actually be my favorite appearance by Beaks so far. His immature flightiness and rich boy arrogance are really funny this time around, and we see more of what makes him an actually good villain. In his video on Mark Beaks' first appearance, Shawnicus made the observation that Beaks is basically the antithesis of Scrooge McDuck, at least in terms of business. While Scrooge is cheap and extravagant when he wants to be, he's also hardworking and honest, building his success on backbreaking work and dedication. While Mark Beaks made his fortune on quick buzz strategies, flaunting his successful brand and being basically the personification of clickbait. He doesn't have to work hard to get where he is, he just has to keep people talking about him and his products. And while that sounds nice on the surface, I can share a few real-world examples of that kind of strategy blowing up in the entrepreneur's face. This strategy has consequences is what I'm saying. The key is whether or not the business person cares about those consequences. And Beaks certainly doesn't. When he wants something, he'll find a way to get it on his terms. And it turns out that when he really wants something, he'll go to really manipulative lengths to get it. And he definitely wants Gizmoduck, possibly as more than just a business asset.
I want him.
Gay!
In this case, Beaks uses Fenton as a hero on demand for an app. People hear they can call a superhero to do whatever they want, and they instantly take advantage of it. And despite the fact that the app comes with a hilarious montage and a ripoff of I Need a Hero, which is the best, Fenton gets frustrated with this arrangement when he sees people in actual danger and can't help them. But Beaks doesn't care. As far as he's concerned, Gizmoduck is his product is trending, and that's what matters. Until he wants that spotlight all to himself. Jeez, when did Mark Beaks become legitimately threatening? Speaking of threatening, let's take a moment to address this.
No! Sorry, you don't deserve the armor, Chico.
This is a moment I honestly didn't think much of the first time I saw it, but it did make me feel uneasy. I assumed it was because Beaks was getting control of the suit, which was really bad because he's a stupid jerkface, but then there was another layer of unease that was brought to my attention. Many fans started using the term microaggression to describe this use of language from Mark to Fenton. This is a term I had never heard of before, so I looked into it. According to Psychology Today, microaggressions are the everyday verbal, nonverbal, and environmental slights, snubs, or insults, whether intentional or unintentional, which communicate hostile, derogatory, or negative messages to target persons based solely upon their marginalized group membership. Basically, it means being derogatory towards someone in a way that wouldn't immediately be recognized as offensive to someone in a minority group, though most commonly race. So Beaks' immediate change in language towards Fenton once he saw he was Latino was taken as an offense, whether intentional or not. It was an assumption based solely on one aspect of him, and many fans recognized those comments as insulting and added an extra layer of despicable to an already despised cardigan-wearing onion. And before you leave any comments about a reviewer once again taking a kid's cartoon too seriously, know that this was intentional. Co-showrunner and one of the story writers on this episode, Frank Anganes, addressed this on his Twitter when someone asked if Beaks' use of Spanish was meant to feel uneasy, to which he replied, "Yep, this episode is all about Fenton choosing who he wants to be in light of people's expectations of him. One of those unfortunate expectations comes from Beaks' impossibly douchey microaggressions. It goes back to our original idea for Fenton. He's not the token Latino superhero, he's a superhero who happens to be Latino. All the various aspects of him make up who he is, but no one of them defines him entirely." While Anganes didn't write this episode, he did contribute to the story, campaigned hard to make Fenton Latino when the reboot was being conceptualized, and was the one who thought of Lin-Manuel Miranda for the role, and is pretty much the main reason why he agreed to play the part. And the second half of that answer kinda hit the nail on the head of why I love this episode. One of my favorite things to see in a superhero story is how different individuals fit into essentially the same role, of wanting to defend the defenseless, to make the world a better one. The Marvel Cinematic Universe, for example, has many different characters with different reasons for doing what they do, as do the CW Arrowverse heroes. They all essentially want to do the same thing, but they have different means and reasons for doing it. Fenton doesn't seem like the kind of guy who knew what he really wanted. He just wanted to help, but didn't know how to, and didn't get much farther than he has up to this point because nobody trusted him or took him seriously, believed in him enough to give him a big responsibility because every attempt he made to help Gyro or Duckburg through Beaks quickly blew up in his face. But that's because he was defining his ambition by trying to help others succeed, not through something he started himself, where he can call the shots. This whole episode is about every everything Fenton is and what he wants. Not who he is to his employers or proving himself to others. He's been labeled by those things his whole life up to this point.
I'm not a mascot, or an intern, or a fancy tool. I am Gizmoduck!
He's always had the goal to want to help and make the world better for everyone, and now, with Scrooge helping him pay the rent, he can do that on his terms. That's why it's such a great idea to have his brain be the core processor for the Gizmo suit. In the words of another armored Avenger,
the suit and I are one.
By standing up for himself and believing in himself to take the reins and save the day, Gizmoduck will slowly become the hero Duckburg needs by following Fenton's virtues, good heart, and sporadic methods. Might take some practice though. Overall, Who is Gizmoduck has got me so excited for what's to come for Duckburg's new Duck-Billed Defender. I don't want to say it's my favorite episode, but it's one of the episodes I've watched the most because I found it so damn entertaining on every level. The writing was hilarious and triumphant, the hijinks with the Gizmo suit were a ton of fun. I think it's the first time in a while I've seen a pie gag in a cartoon. It made Mark Beeks a force to be reckoned with and probably will continue to be so for future appearances, and if I haven't made this abundantly clear at this point, I really dig how they portrayed Fenton earning the mantle of Gizmoduck, and I cannot wait to see how he evolves into a hero in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.